I was not, again, excited about this pivot.
Well, why were you not excited?
Okay, yeah. So, yeah,
we had some really good conversations
yeah.
offline. We'll bring it to you online right now. Welcome to the Journey Podcast with Aaron and Jessica Rocamontes, where we share our journey to building a 7-figure network marketing company. This podcast is designed to best record and document our lessons learned and best practices to be able to share our experience so that you can avoid things we did wrong and improve on the things we did right. All right, so pre-network marketing, man, the most common question I get everywhere I go is, how long have y'all been together? So that's a tricky question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we first connected when we were how old?
I think it was first grade or kindergarten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The first time I remember seeing Aaron was whenever he poked his head around the corner of the library or his classroom. Was the library or classroom? Do you remember?
So I was coming out of the library in the hallway, headed to class because I was supposed to be in class. You remember it had like some type of ringing, and then you have to be in class by a certain time.
Yeah. So, so that's the first time I ever saw you. Yeah. And I guess it was love at first.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. So that was when how old would we be?
First grade, 7,
8.
Yeah. 7.
And then my second encounter with Jessica was at a junior National Honor Society.
So we never saw each other or talked to each other or anything.
Yeah.
And then we ended up in this program. I think it was an award ceremony.
It was an award ceremony.
Ceremony. Yeah. And our last names started with the same letter.
Yeah.
And so we were 2 people away from each other. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that he stood up, or one of the people that were in the middle of us stood up and left, and he saw me and was just like, "I like your dress."
Yep.
And then he walked away.
Hey, listen, I didn't have the skills that I have now and then to catch you, but it's all about planting seeds. So I was planting the seeds early.
And I was just like, what is this kid doing? He's saying my dress is pretty, and then he walks away. I don't understand.
Real stud. You know it, play hard to get. And then we started to date in high school.
Yep. So again, we didn't talk to each other again for a few more years. But what's really funny is our sisters were connected in high school. They were like best friends all through high school, had the same classes, hung out, same sports. But we just never connected. And they would always say, hey, like if my sister and brother got together, that would be so cool. But it didn't really happen until our junior year of high school. And again, we had like the same homeroom, but never talked to each other until junior year. And Aaron,
I struck again.
Yep. He swooped right in and took that chair out from underneath me, and I fell underneath the computer desk. And I must have liked it because it was, again, like flirtatious Aaron.
Yeah.
And
Well, you've been following for me ever since. And likewise. So fast forward. And so that's how we met. And then we started our professional careers early, right? So I went to college. I went to the University of Texas in Arlington. And I finished early because I quit 2 semesters in. Didn't say I graduated early. I fundamentally finished what I thought would be enough after 2 semesters. Lots of backstory there. But I just remember it was raining. I was parked, if you're familiar with the University of Texas in Arlington, I was parked in the far back parking lot. I'm pretty confident I bombed my stats test. The true false. I was just terrible at that, and I couldn't even guess right. It was terrible. And so I just remember reading a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And that book was like an advertisement I purchased. I believe at the time it was right after Xanga going into Facebook, right?
I remember Xanga.
Yeah, it was Xanga, MySpace, and Facebook. So it might have been MySpace and Facebook, but I remember just seeing it all the time. And I remember reading in the chapter about, creating money and not just like earning money. And I didn't tell my mom. She knows now. But I just remember quitting, and that's when all my financial problems really started, right?
Yeah.
And where were we? And I was living with my parents still, right? And you were living with
Your parents.
She was living with my parents.
That's an interesting story.
That's why, yeah, that's a different. We'll talk about
That's for a different day.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you started your dream career, right? At the time.
Sure, dream career, yes. I did not. I went to several different colleges. I honestly had no idea what I wanted to do. I just knew I was going to do something. And so I went to TCC, which is a community college here in Texas. And then I ended up going to a couple different trade schools trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I still had no idea what I wanted to do. And so
But we paid for it, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Which, yes, blessedly, it's all paid for.
Yeah.
But we worked for it to pay for it. But yeah, since after that, I started Wells Fargo. I actually worked at Brookshire's grocery company and Wells Fargo at the same time while I was in college. But then when I decided to drop out, essentially, I just stuck with Wells Fargo, and I really loved it. And it was great. I worked my way up. I started as a teller, and then the lead teller, and then banker, and just kind of worked my way up that way. And my goal was to be a manager there. But my end game, I guess you would say, was I wanted to be a mom.
Yeah.
And so, we were in the right place at the right time to make that happen. And once we had our first son, Josiah, I was able to stay at home with him. And so, yeah.
Yep. And then speaking of Brookshire's, I actually pushed the grocery carts. I remember I had long, shaggy hair and just ripped up, the ripped up jeans I always used to wear. And I remember just going into Brookshire's one day in Joshua, Texas, and Helen, right? She was there with Chris, and she's like, "We're doing interviews, come on back." And I couldn't believe it, right? I showed up with my little application. Because growing up, I always was told just like, "Hey, be ready." Well, I was ready with the application. I was not ready in uniform. However, she gave me the job, and I chopped off my hair, right, and did not wear tattered jeans. And I was pushing grocery carts for, I don't know, $6.50, I think, $6.25 an hour.
Yeah, I don't remember how much
And
weight was.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then Jessica was one of the office managers, which was leadership over me, and we had a lot of interesting stories. For those of you out there that was during those times, I'm sorry. We're a bunch of kids. But we made it, we made it. High five. That's what I'm talking about. We made it. We're still making it. And so, fast forward, Josiah, our oldest son, born. So we're fast forward, we're 24 years young. Right. And Josiah, when he was born, he was actually born with some challenges, and definitely made a shift a little bit in my mind of, expectations and things that such. And so network marketing, this is where like network marketing starts to enter our lives. So I was working in the car industry. If you know anybody in the auto industry, honestly, I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, one of my mentors early in the car business, his name is Patrick, and he and Ed, the trainer, man, gave me a shot. If you were like me, I was a kite in a hurricane. I had very little purpose, little direction, and I just knew I did not want to be broke. I wanted to create success. And at the time, my scope of success was very narrow. I was just looking at the financials. However, nonetheless, I wanted to be successful because I knew I wanted to marry Jessica. Now, I knew this fundamentally after breaking up like 4 times, right?
Yeah.
But I finally knew, right? It took me a little bit, but I finally knew. And so we have like 4 anniversary dates, right? So lucky for us. And so Patrick took me under his wing. And since I was 18 all the way up to 26, I was basically under his leadership and I learned so much, and we were able to go places I never imagined we could go. We our first home that we purchased was built, it was custom, right? And I wouldn't have done that without all the people in my life that helped support us along the way. All of you guys. I mean, we're so grateful. Now, at that time, I started to realize that I was kind of, for me personally, my personal experience, I had golden handcuffs. So, we're 24 years of age, making six figures, good income into the six figures. And I just realized when I wanted to have date night, or if I wanted to plan something, it was very difficult for me to be a high achiever and only work, minimum hours in the car business. It just doesn't really equate. I mean, success requires work. However, I wanted a more leveraged way to create income, an income that I could build long-term, and the income continues to compound so that I would free up my time to do things I love to do. And I knew that we're going to have more children. And so Jessica's best friend, husband, who I know too as well, introduced us to really our company we're at today, network marketing industry. And then we got introduced to our mentors and coaches. And from there, I saw it. Now, from my personal experience, I saw network marketing as a genius of a plan. I mean, if you're new to network marketing or you've been in it for a while, I mean, you just remember that excitement when you see it. You're like, wow, like I can make this work. I was concerned for the world economy because I was like, nobody's going to want to work a job. They're all going to want to be in my company, right? And you stay up late night dreaming and thinking like, oh man, this is going to be super easy. And so I was on board from Jump Street. I was excited. I was ready to go. And I, went to a meeting without my wife, which is kind of a no-no, right? If you understand how decisions are made and influences. So I went knowing I was going to probably say yes to an opportunity because I was looking for something. I just couldn't describe what I was looking for, right? I was looking for something. And so when I saw it, which was time and money and guidance, I was super jacked. I came home naturally and, well, I told my wife how we were going to make it big, and she wasn't really happy, right? And it makes sense, right? Because I was working so many hours, and you're like, what'd you say?
I don't even remember what I said, honestly, but I do remember just being like, okay, I'll support you. And that's basically it. But, for me, obviously support looks different to a lot of different people. Everybody's definition is different. But for me, what that meant was, I'll be there and I'll be excited for you, but I'm not going to do anything. Like, you're going to do everything and I'll just be okay with it. Yeah. But in reality, I still wasn't okay with it. So the idea of what I thought it would be was not what I expected at all. It ended up being a lot better down the line once I fully understood what was happening and what we were going to do together. But in the very beginning, like he mentioned, I didn't want anything to do with it just because for those of you that know what the auto industry looks like, the hours are just terrible and very time consuming. And when we had our first son, I just knew that he wasn't going to be there already. So starting something extra was just not the idea I had in mind of our marriage and what parenting was going to look like and what potentially, adding more children to our family was going to look like. But I was wrong. And I'm okay with saying I was wrong because not obviously, but a lot of people have different perspectives on that. But for me, I ended up loving the environment and loving who my husband was turning into and loving that we were doing something together. And that's just not something that a lot of people do as married people, is do things together and have a business together. And that was something that I was really excited about. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I think about it, I almost get emotional because I remember, our mentor Chase, I just remember him saying, Aaron, if nothing changes, nothing will ever change. And to really give you context, I was working, over 70, 80 hours a week or whatnot, and some points of the month, just, and the thing is, I'm not complaining. It provided such a great life for us, but we just realized we wanted something different. And so I'm not downplaying the auto industry. In fact, I'm a big fan of it economically, how it provides and feeds so many people. I saw it a way where I can help people. I genuinely love helping people. And that was a medium. That was my first medium or modality, how I can serve the community and then do it with people that I enjoy doing with. And so, when I saw a different way where I can have time and money, I struggled with, I wanted to do it, but it's more time away from the family. And what my mentor did, whether he knew he was doing it or, it was just like kind of happened, but he said, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And what that allowed me to do, I couldn't articulate it at the time. I was 24 years young. I can articulate it now. And what happened in that moment of time, and maybe it happened to you and it'll continue to happen to us as you grow, is, fundamentally, we all live with pain for a long time sometimes. Maybe you're overweight and you need to lose weight, but you're willing to be tolerant of that pain. So he helped me move my mind from pain and basically said, what if you never fix this problem? What will your life look like? And then that became a sense of fear, of motivation, of like, what if I don't make a change? Mm-hmm. What type of relationship will I have or not have with, my family? And so that was definitely a pivotal moment for me. And I got to see, and it sparked just a hunger and a drive to say, you know what, I need to get moving and moving now. And so we definitely started building our business. And man, we had what a blast. So for 9 years, we built the business, belly to belly, built the business. Some might say traditional, some might say old school. And we built it belly to belly. We're driving late nights, all across, we call God's green earth, and we'd be showing plans, right? And
explain what belly to belly means.
Yeah. So absolutely. So obviously, so a couple of things. One, you're, to talk to somebody, you're reaching out to strangers, sometimes, you may feel like you're stalking people because you're trying to find your next person that you're talking about the opportunity or customer. Now, in the beginning, I was just weird, as most network marketers are. You just think everybody's going to say yes. And I would hear things like, hey, go out there as if a magic wand and just go, what if everybody said yes? Go out there, believe in everybody's going to say yes. And well, that was unmanaged expectations because most people, guess what? They ran away from you, they say no, right? However they say it. And so managing those expectations of not rejection, but redirection. And so we do the whole process where we meet somebody, we make a call, we would set up a meeting, do a one-on-one, we'd do bring them to like a hotel meeting, do a presentation, do another one-on-one meeting or follow-up. And then every meeting after that is pretty much, meetings. I mean, if I were to guess, top of my head, at least 2 main meetings a week. That's 104 meetings. Major conferences, another 6, 7 meetings, right? Maybe 5 or 6. So 109. And then if I'm out there one-on-one, showing the presentation to somebody one-on-one physically, and let's say we're doing it 3 times a week, 2 times a week. Well, that's another 104. So you're looking at 208, 210 meetings on top of, self-development, growing family. And so we did it. And honestly, for me personally, my personal development definitely just, exponentially grew because we were in front of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and over the course of our 9-year career, going on 10, thousands. And so when people skills and connecting with people and all those things, I mean, all the books we've read, all the mentorship we've gotten, all the audios we listened to, wow, a lot. And so a lot of positives, and I know for you, the biggest part, I think, was the community for you, right? As well, or?
Yeah, absolutely. The community was definitely my high point of why I engaged in the business that we're in, because it was it just is amazing. You know, there are, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe it.
Undescribable. That is a word.
Well, you know,
That's the word. Hey, listen, people always ask us, are y'all bilingual? I'm like, we're still working on English here. There's words in the dictionary we're still, figuring out. But yeah, undescribable. I mean, that is what, it's the heartbeat. Community, people, it's the heartbeat. It's the spirit of the room. It's the spirit of the entrepreneur. It's the spirit of people that now are just highly motivated, but they're collaborative. They want to see you win. They celebrate your win. They're there to compete, but not in being competition. They're there to compliment you. And, in the world we live in today, it's more of a dog eat dog world, right? And so, fast forward. Well, I mean, there are some, challenges. There's some problems that we face. So we have now 3 kids, right? And we realized that, there was a pivot that was made in the network marketing community years ago, and we just never really made that pivot. And over the last 3 years, we started to have conversations about, hey, what does it look like to now take what we did for 9 years offline? I mean, no video content, nothing, right? But for 9 years offline, what could we do to build it and bring it online, bring a presence, and ultimately bring value, not just to our current team, to our future team, and to the network marketing community. And so, for us, this is a brand new journey that we invite you on with us. For those that have been building it offline or building it belly to belly or building it one-to-one, I would say it's not as leveraged where you can build an online presence and you're in the beginning stages. So are we. We were able to get some really good coaching and mentorship around the different strategies and how about go and do this. And we want to bring it to you. All the money that we paid, we want to be able to bring it to you as free value in the network marketing community to be able to link pieces together. And so, what we're looking to do is to best attempt and document our journey to building the business without old school tactics and strategies, with using online marketing and growing the business to 7 figures and beyond. And we want to provide the lessons learned and then best practices along the way. And so that's the journey that we're on. That's the journey that, I definitely personally invite you. And I know that we made a pivot. There were some challenges that Jessica maybe have faced too as well, and why we decided to make that pivot. And I'll let her, talk to that.
Yeah. And I just want to say something too, is that like what we talked about earlier, the traditional way of business and what we used to do, that is not for everyone, but we love that for the season that we were in. And it does work for a lot of people. It's just we've chosen ourselves to pivot. So there's not a right way, there's not a wrong way to do it. It's just for us in the season that we are in currently. That's just what we've decided to do for our family, and that's just is what best fits our family at this time. And so I was not, again, excited about this pivot, but
Well, why were you not excited?
okay, yeah. So
I mean,
yeah,
we had some really good conversations
yes.
offline. We'll bring it to you online right now.
No, I am just not a social media person at all. It's not something I've ever wanted to learn. I guess am so old school, and I'm not even that old. I just have never been fully comfortable with social media at all. I've not wanted to learn. I've not cared about it. Aaron's always been the guy that's great at it, and yeah. So I just never wanted my face out there per se. But I'm learning it and I'm getting more excited about it and I'm okay with it. And I'm just really excited for the journey that we're on because new challenges that are coming our way. I've always heard that like once you are challenged and you get that, like that just propels you forward for the next one. And so it's kind of like that rubber band effect. And it's, yeah, we're just excited about it. I'll just say that. We're just really excited about it.
Yep, absolutely. And so, yeah, that likewise, I would definitely comment on that. And one thing that we have both found out and still continue to find out is to be omnipresent online actually doesn't mean you have to be online all the time. In fact, some of the coaches I've listened to, they are actually not on social media. Actually, they're able to be omnipresent without ever being on, looking up social media and being on the phone. And what we've learned to do as entrepreneurs, business owners, creatives, we want to add value to the community. We want to add value to you, and we're not going to waste our time, on the search bar. We're here to create content and really add value to the network marketing community, to our team, our future teams, and to build a presence that, you guys could be proud of and we could be proud of. And that's alignment into our authentic self, our,
Our.
that English thing is still a thing. So yeah, so we're super excited, fired up.